Hello and welcome back to another Office Hours capsule. This is a small section of every Office Hours that I do. Office Hours is a live stream I do not every Thursday, on Thursdays. Sometimes I take weeks off. Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern. You can come join us at twitch.tv/theastropub or youtube.com/theastropub for more content on Thursdays. You can see with the chat right here, where I am very much live. Today, I'm going to be going over Alien Week. It is Alien Week, which means that we have all sorts of alien ships available. I'm going to go over which ships are available right now. I'm not going to go over the value of them too much. I'm going to go a little bit more of the histories of them and you know some of the kind of background aspects. If you want to go over the value of each one of those ships, if you're watching this on YouTube, right up there you'll see a link to the Inforunners episode, which I am a part of, which you can go watch that for more of value in terms of your money. But with that being said, let's get to there. All right. So, Alien Week offers. The Blade. So, the Blade is $275. The rarity of the Blade is going to be fairly, I wouldn't say super rare, because this is actually not an original creation of the Vanduul. This is actually a creation by Asperia. So, Asperia is a company founded in Terra by two brothers from Kazi, who were inspired by preserving old ships from humanity, like old out-of-date ships, and trying to like preserving them or like updating them, taking like Zeus's and making them more modern, or finding rare ships which are barely around anymore and kind of bringing them back to their prime. Eventually, they got into the Alien game, where they were taking alien ships and trying to build alien ships for human audience. So the Blade that we're hearing, so you see here, is a human version of a Vanduul fighter. Then we've got the Banu, the Banu Defender. This is actually made by the Banu, specifically the Banu Sulis, kind of a Suli that offers an exporting for the rest of the UEE. Probably multiple different Sulis getting involved in this. It's $220. It's all right. It's a cool looking ship. It looks like a crab on the inside. It's a two-person fighter. But they recently came out to human market and were trying to kind of craft a new version for it. There's a great videos on that too. The Khartu-Al. So the Khartu-Al is a Xi'an fighter. It's a light fighter. It's kind of a scout, it's known as the Xi'an Scout. This is one of the first ships that was made available from a Xi'an manufacturer, Apoa, to the human market. It actually won the Murray Cup recently as well. So Aopoa is the Xi'an manufacturer. They're importing ships which are specifically designed by the Xi'an for humanity. These are kind of human conversions of alien ships. It's speedy. The interesting thing about this is that those thrusters right there, all of those thrusters are supposed to be gimbaled, so that those are the thrusters and the maneuvering thrusters at the same time. So as we see this develop further, we'll probably see the Xi'an tech become more nimble as well as speedy. And it's $170. It's not a bad little ship. It has two size 4s on it, two fixed size 4s or two gimbaled size 3s. So it's not a bad little ship. In game, it's not too hot, but I know a lot of people who enjoy it. Banu Merchantman, to steal parlance from Fast Card and Disco Lando. So the Banu Merchantman is interesting. So the important thing to remember about the Banu Merchantman is that the Banu Merchantman at its core is a company ship. It's a Suli ship. It's a ship that's designed for Sulis to operate out of. So a Suli, for those who don't know, is a Banu, the basic Banu unit. Everything is done in Sulis. You have the leaders of the Sulis called Esso Sulis, and we did a full kind of walkthrough. I kind of talked a little bit about the lore behind some of the stuff, and when they were talking about the ISC, about walking through the current Banu Merchantman and talking a little bit about it here live. So come watch this. Obviously, the VOD will be available on on YouTube if you want to come back and watch that as well. But the Merchantman is important because it's kind of like the Carrack, in that the Carrack is sort of this best trade or best explorer ship period. The Merchantman's like that, but for trade. Like I said, it's a Suli ship, so it's designed to function for any type of Suli that exists, to kind of offer some benefits to all of them. It's fairly big. It's about the size of an 890 jump, and it'll be fairly common in the verse, but difficult to acquire. Unlike say like the Xi'an Scout, the Cartual will probably be very, very common because they're mass manufactured in the Xi'an Empire, and the Xi'an Empire is huge. Bennu stuff is a little bit different, and like Asperia is a human company, so it's a little different as well. All right, then the Knox. This is a speeder bike. It's very fast. It's not nearly as nimble as, say, the hover quad or any of the other hover vehicles, but it's very fast in a straight line, very, very speedy. It's also made by Aopoa, and it's mostly designed for racing, open-top racing. It's not really got any military value, but it may be used by the Xi'an military in terms of scouting operations, so hard to tell. The Prowler. Interesting story about this. So the Prowler, I'm not gonna talk about the value, watch the video before, but the Prowler is a famous ship, absolutely infamous in many ways, because the Prowler is a Tavaran ship. It's made by Asperia. The original Prowlers are legendary. The Prowler would have a specialized military name for it. It's like, yeah, it's like Nauli, who were a specialized group of warriors, stealth warriors, who would insert with a Prowler into capital ships and overtake them, killing everyone on board before they knew that they were being boarded. So the Prowler has this infamous heritage, but it was mostly forgotten about until the discovery of the Cabal system. In the Cabal system, they found a abandoned Tavaran colony, the only original Tavaran settlement outside of the Elysium system we've ever found. And it was abandoned around the end of the First Tavaran War. So it had technology just laying around, crashed Prowlers, ships in storage, and, obviously Prowlers were a big one. So Asperia, being experts in alien technology, came to the Cabal system and took a lot of these ships, tested them, put them back together, worked with Tavaran engineers who may have some experience with some of this technology, and helped them kind of retrofit and kind of redesign the Prowler for a modern usage, because the Prowler's been around since the First Tavaran War. So Prowlers are now available through Asperia, but they have this kind of interesting history kind of linked to them. They're a drop ship, obviously, size 4 guns on it, $440, which is a little pricey, and you can get a lot of these, like you can get this in game. This is, Band Immersion's not in game yet, so. But I think you can buy all of these ships, maybe not the Blade, I think you can buy the Blade. All these ships but the Band Immersion are available to purchase in game right now. And of course, the Raylan. Another thing to understand about Xi'an manufacturers. Xi'an are at their core a house-based system. So if you can think of Dune, like House Atreides, works for the Empire, that kind of stuff. Like the Empire of the Xi'an is very similar to the Dune's Empire of humanity. In that each house is designed for a specific role. They do a specific thing to further the Empire. And in this case, the Gatak is the manufacturer, but the House Gatak is the house that does all industry ships for the Xi'an Empire. So the Raylan is the first export by Gatak to humanity outside of Aopoa ships, which do like light fighters, like light maneuverable ships, what Aopoa does. So more military based, and this is more civilian based. So the Raylan is a cargo hauler. It's very, very Xi'an, but it has some adaptability because it's been designed for humans and has exterior cargo bays as space for it as well. So it's a ship that's designed kind of to compete along the lines with a Taurus, but also with it's like a medium range. So it's not as much as a Caterpillar, more than a Taurus. Not as much as, say, like a Hull B, but you have interior living spaces and some guns and other things like that. As Execute would say, this ship is a blockade runner. But it's not in game yet. This is still concept ship. It's very popular for a lot of people, though. The Santokyai. So this is also made by Aopoa, but the Santokyai is a medium Xi'an fighter. This is the equivalent of the Hornet. This is the Xi'an equivalent of the F-7C. There is a military version that the Xi'an use for their military as a medium fighter. Fun fact: the Santokyai would be like us calling a ship the Blue Falcon, or the Red Vulture, or whatever. I don't know if San is like a color or something like that, but Tokyai, the Tokyai is actually a predator avian species from the Xi'an homeworld. So it's kind of like Hawk, like the Anvil Hawk, similar kind of concept. It's built with medium ships in mind. So if you like the you want some alien ship that's also up there with like the Hornet equivalent, this is not a little bad ship. The Talon. So we have two different Talons. The first Talon is, both of them made by Asperia. The Talon was found, they found Talons in the same places they found the Prowlers in the Cabal system, and then they've kind of redesigned them and brought them back for modern era. The front of the ship actually ejects into its own escape pod. Not yet, but eventually it will. It is a light fighter. It is, fun fact, the Talon is the thing that was likely the major influence on the creation of the Gladius. Because the Talon existed before the Gladius. Humanity, during the First Tavaran War, humanity didn't have shield technology for smaller vessels. Only larger ships had the power capabilities to carry shield technology. Like, for instance, the Perseus didn't have shields when it was originally designed. Eventually, it got it retroactively after the fact, but it didn't originally. It was built before the First Tavaran. So the Talon is one of those ships where it had a shield, as well as being more maneuverable and having some good guns on it. So after the war, the Talon and the technology from the Talon would end up in the Gladius, which is why the Gladius is, a better Talon, as it were. But they're famous because Talons would be used in very fast hit and run attacks. And that's what this ship it does really well. It is a fast, light fighter that's designed to hit fast and go away. The only problem I have is that in lore, it has a unique shriek, similar to the Stuka from World War II, but they haven't added the unique shriek to it yet. So I'd love to hear a unique shriek of it coming in through atmosphere. And the Shrike. So the Shrike is actually something that was built in the Second Tavaran War, which was an addition, kind of an upgrade to the original Talon, which was designed with more missiles, because by the Second Tavaran War, humanity had stolen a lot of the Tavaran technology. I probably said back to this. The Tavaran technology for shields, so they needed something that could counter the neo-human tech for shields. And so they invented the Shrike version of the Talon, which was a missile boat to overwhelm the primitive shields in comparison and be able to take them down, as well as to do ground attacks and stuff like that, because the Second Tavaran War was much more hit and run than the First Tavaran. This is the same thing as a Talon, but with missiles on it. So. All right. Hopefully you enjoy that little walkthrough of a little bit of the history and a little bit of the purposes of each one of these ships. It's important to note that all of these ships will be available for the entire week, I believe until next Thursday. And they'll be available for purchase. There are also a bunch of new skins and other things that you can look into. But yeah, that's what Alien Week is. It's effectively just a time when you can buy alien ships. And it usually corresponds around First Contact Week, which is June the 12th, I want to say. Yeah, June 12th is First Contact Day. So there we go. Thank you all for watching. Make sure that you're watching this live on Thursdays or here at the office hours, twitch.tv/theastrahub, youtube.com/theastropub. But I want to know your thoughts as well. For those of you on YouTube land, let me know, which of these ships would you be interested in purchasing? Which of these ships do you think is the best value for your purchase? If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. It always helps me out a little bit. Make sure that you're subscribed if you enjoy these sorts of content. You like my lore stuff as well. I got much more stuff on a lot of this lore stuff. And like I say every time, hope to see you someday. in the black.